The doctor's words fell like a final verdict, heavy and irreversible, echoing in the sterile hospital room where hope had already been thinned by weeks of fear. The scans glowed on the screen like cold constellations, and the silence that followed felt louder than any siren. In that moment, a life split cleanly into before and after, and the future narrowed to a single, unforgiving path. For her, the world seemed to tilt and stop. For him, standing just behind the wheelchair with hands that trembled despite his steady heart, something fierce and unexplainable began to rise. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of people who refuse to give up on each other, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still waiting for light. Her name was Elena, and before the accident she moved through life with an ease that made people believe tomorrow would always cooperate. She worked long hours, ran at dawn, laughed easily, and planned trips she never took. The night everything changed was ordinary, in the way disasters often are. Rain slicked the roads, headlights blurred into ribbons, and a single moment of bad luck rewrote everything. When she woke in the hospital, pain dulled by medication and fear sharpened by uncertainty, she tried to move her legs and found nothing answered back. Days later, when the swelling settled and the test concluded, the truth arrived without ceremony. The damage was permanent. The chair would be forever. Elena's world shrank to the size of that room. The walls watched her cry. The window measured time in passing clouds. She learned the geography of grief, the way it surged and ebbed, how it pretended to leave and then returned stronger. Friends came and went, offering brave smiles and fragile promises. She nodded, thanked them, and folded inward. She imagined hallways she could not walk, doors she could not reach, a body that no longer trusted her will. The future, once loud with plans, became a whisper she couldn't quite hear. He was named Daniel, a single father whose life had already been pared down to essentials. His mornings began before sunrise with lunches packed and shoelaces tied. Bedtime stories read under a lamp that flickered when the wind was wrong. He worked construction when his back allowed it, took extra shifts when it didn't, and learned how to be both parents without making it look like sacrifice. He met Elena by accident, in a line that moved too slowly, under a sky that threatened rain. Their connection grew not from fireworks but from steadiness, from shared silences and shared responsibility. When the accident happened, Daniel rearranged his life without announcing it. He just showed up. The first weeks after the diagnosis tested everything. Elena's frustration turned inward and then outward, a storm that had nowhere to go. Therapy sessions exhausted her. The chair felt like a verdict strapped to her body. Daniel learned how to listen without fixing, how to be present without hovering. He memorized the rhythm of her good days and the warning signs of the bad ones. He taught his daughter Maya how to help without making Elena feel small, how to pass things gently, how to laugh at mistakes without turning them into wounds. The challenges stacked quickly and without mercy. There were ramps that didn't exist, doorways that were too narrow, stairs that lingered too long. There were forms to fill, appointments to keep, money that vanished into medical bills. Elena hated needing help for things she once did without thinking. She hated the way strangers spoke to Daniel instead of her, as if her voice had been damaged along with her spine. Some nights she lay awake counting losses, convinced that love, like movement, had limits. Daniel faced his own quiet battles. Exhaustion crept into his bones. Fear woke him. Before dawn, he worried about being strong enough, about his daughter's childhood bending under responsibility, about loving Elena in a way that did not ask her to be grateful for survival alone. He reminded himself that strength was not a performance, it was repetition. It was showing up again when yesterday had taken everything. Change did not arrive like a miracle, it came like practice. Physical therapy days layered into weeks, small victories were celebrated as if they were holidays. Elena learned how to transfer from chair to bed, how to navigate uneven ground, how to let help exist without feeling erased by it. Daniel learned how to read the map of a city with new eyes, how to advocate in rooms that pretended not to hear, how to carry weight without making it feel like burden. There were moments when the distance between them felt unbridgeable, when grief stood taller than hope. Yet even then, something held. A shared joke. A hand on a shoulder. The sound of Maya's laughter breaking the tension like sunlight through clouds. Elena began to notice the ways her world could still expand, not in spite of the chair but alongside it. She found work she could do from home, discovered muscles of patience she never knew she had, learned that dignity could be rebuilt piece by piece. The turning point came not in a hospital or a courtroom or a bank office, but on a quiet afternoon when Daniel suggested a walk by the river. It was a simple idea, complicated by terrain and doubt. Elena hesitated, imagining the stairs, the effort, the possibility of failure. Daniel prepared without spectacle. He checked the path, packed snacks, brought Maya's jacket. They went slowly. The river moved the way it always had, indifferent and generous. Elena felt the breeze on her face, the sound of water anchoring her to the present. She realized then that movement did not belong solely to legs. It lived in choices, in courage, in the willingness to try again tomorrow. Suspense did not leave. Their lives, it changed shape. Would the benefits come through? Would the ramp be approved? Would the car last another winter? Each question demanded patience. Each answer, when it came, offered a small step forward. Elena began speaking publicly about accessibility, about the gap between good intentions and real design. Daniel stood in the back of rooms holding Maya, listening as Elena found a voice that carried farther than she imagined. Love for them became a discipline. It meant learning new routines, forgiving bad days, celebrating progress without denying pain. It meant accepting help from neighbors and offering it in return. It meant understanding that independence and interdependence were not opposites but partners. Daniel never made promises he couldn't keep. He simply acted as if the future was worth building, brick by brick. As months turned into a year, the narrative others expected began to crumble. Elena was not defined by what she lost, but by what she built. Daniel was not a savior but a companion. Maya grew up believing that care was normal and courage was quiet. The chair remained a constant presence, but it no longer felt like an ending. It was a tool, a truth, a reminder of a night that changed everything and a morning that changed something else entirely. If this story has touched your heart, if it has reminded you that love can adapt and courage can be learned, please take a moment now to like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive. Before we close, we have one special request. Please comment below with a single word that this story stirred in you, or share a moment when someone stood by you when life changed. Your words matter more than you know. In the end, there was no dramatic cure, no sudden reversal that erased the chair. There was something better and harder. There was a life rebuilt on honesty, effort, and choice. Elena learned that her worth did not depend on walking. Daniel learned that love was not about carrying someone, but about walking beside them, even when walking looked different than expected. And together, with a child who believed in tomorrow and a river that kept moving, they proved that legs are not the only way forward.